Companies usually treat onboarding as something that begins after sign-up, but users do not experience it that way. For them, it starts the first time they come across the product. That might be through an ad, a landing page, or something someone shared with them. From that point, they are already trying to understand what the product is and whether it fits into their life. I think of this stage as setting the context, like when you watch a movie trailer or read the back of a book. You haven't experienced the full thing yet, but you're already forming an idea of what to expect. You are making assumptions about what it will be like. It's very important to have people form assumptions that are close to the actual product experience. Because if they get the wrong idea early, they enter the product looking for the wrong kind of value. And when they do not find what they expected, they are much less likely to activate. In this early stage, you need to give people an initial sense of value, the kind of moment where they can see how the product might make a difference for them. And yes, this is where the legendary aha moment usually comes up. You know, that magical moment when the user's light bulb flickers on and suddenly everything makes sense. But in reality, activation rarely comes from one dramatic moment. It usually comes from a series of small wins that gradually prove the product is worth continuing with. This first touch point is the beginning of those small wins. It starts to shape what they can expect from using your product. For example, Sentry lets you try things out in a sandbox before you even sign up. You can see a real arrow called which is the main point of the product, and you get that little win before you commit to anything. Or take Tally, which lets you create your first form before you need to sign up. You only have to create an account when you want to publish it. Now, Tally's whole positioning is built around making form creation feel effortless. So that is exactly what users experience from the start. They understand that using the product is better than just reading about it. A sandbox, or letting users try out part of your product, is one way to do this, but it could also be an interactive demo that provides enough context, or a mini version of your product that allows people to try some of the functionalities. These early experiences do more than prove value. They also help people work out whether the product is actually right for them before they sign up. Because if they don't, you might end up attracting people who were never going to engage in the first place. This could look like an activation issue, but the real problem started earlier, during acquisition. You could spend weeks trying to improve the product experience and see very little change because the issue began before the user even signed up. Once you view onboarding this way, it's clear why it can't be handled by just one team. If I asked you which team is responsible for acquisition at your company, I bet you would say marketing. And if I ask who owns onboarding, the answer might vary a bit more, but it's usually product, customer success, or some mix of the two. The problem is that in a lot of companies, these teams are measured separately. Marketing is judged on getting people in the door. Product or customer success is judged on what happens after. So even when everyone is working toward growth, each team can end up optimizing its own part of the journey without looking closely enough at the experience as a whole. That's why onboarding works better as a cross-functional responsibility. A small group of people, each with their own unique skill, works together on the full onboarding experience. So marketing can help set the right expectations before sign-up. Product can make sure the first experience follows through on those expectations. Customer success and support can bring in what they have learned from helping users in real situations. So the important thing is that they are not working on separate pieces in isolation. They work together, they have a shared understanding of who the user is and what is the value that they need to experience in the product. So they're not just improving individual touch points. They are looking at whether the entire journey is moving the right user closer to that value. So the practical takeaway is that activation should not be reviewed only from the moment someone creates an account. It should be reviewed from the moment they start forming expectations about the product. That means you need to look at what brought them in, what they thought they were signing up for, and whether the product actually follows through on that promise. Because for your users, acquisition and onboarding were never two separate journeys. It was always one continuous decision. Is this still worth continuing? And this is what makes activation problems so easy to misdiagnose. The drop-off might happen inside a product at some point, but the reason for it may have started much earlier. I would love to know if you've ever signed up for a product because of what it promised, only to realize the actual experience was something completely different. Let me know in the comments, because I'm sure there are some good examples out there. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.